Hello lovely people, I'm Cameron. Welcome to today's video and to my channel. It's truly a pleasure to have you. I hope you're doing okay, doing well. I'm really excited for today's video because I just want to share with you things that I've been using and what I've used up to the point that it is now an empty, which is what we refer to in the beauty, skincare, makeup world as just a used up product. So it's literally just empty packaging. What I'm going to share with you is what I thought of the products, if it's something that I would repurchase, and if not, what I would replace it with. And this is everything personal care. It's actually barely any makeup because I realized that makeup is the one thing that takes me the longest to actually use up to the point where I replace it because I may or may not have too much for my own good. So this is everything that I use on a daily basis to take care of this bod of mine and to make it feel good. So let's just get started. First up, we have something that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, Dove Deep Moisture Body Wash. In my lifetime, I've probably gone through 30 of these. I don't know. I'm really not a good guesstimator, but that number felt right. Basically, this was what I used mostly throughout high school and the years following up until about 5 years ago, I think. As I've grown older in my beauty journey is just trying things and finding what I really like, but also wanting to steer away from such large companies and maybe find things with different ingredients, maybe more natural ingredients, more sustainable packaging. But with that, and most of the time, that increases the price point and decreases the actual amount of product. And body wash is one thing that I go through a lot. So there are certain things in my life and that I use day to day that I'm willing to sacrifice a little. Maybe it's a little bit of my morals. Maybe I sold my soul purchasing this, realizing that I want to reel in my coin a little bit more, especially since being on lockdown and in quarantine, just wanting to be a lot more smart about the financial decisions that I make and understanding that body wash is an area that I'm willing to get a little more bang for my buck. And if you're curious my thoughts on it or what I'm using now that I used it up, I hope this answers it for you. It has a pump. If you don't know, I have such a love for products with pumps of all kinds, and it's gonna last me a while and I don't feel like I'm breaking the bank. And what's really done it for me, because I'm a sucker for good marketing, is if you read the back panel. Dove now says that their moisturizing formula has naturally derived cleansers, natural skin ingredients, and plant-based moisturizer. It does not have sulfates or parabens, which I assumed it did, which is part of the reason that I stopped purchasing it. It is 100% recycled bottle. It's cruelty-free and microbiome gentle. Dove is also known to help young people build self-esteem, and they have helped 40 million young people from 2004 to 2020. So those were little signs that it's not so bad, and maybe I'm not completely selling my soul by buying Dove again. What are your thoughts on this? Moving on. For hair care, shampoo, I just finished my Deva Curl Low-Poo Delight. I've gone through 2 or 3 of these already, basically ever since I got my first Deva cut back in November of 2018, meaning a curl by curl, very special VIP experience for my curls. That's when I really got on the Deva Curl train. I really enjoyed the products. I love the way this makes my hair feel without getting too sudsy and without feeling like it's stripping my curls of their natural moisture. My hair feels very soft after, while still feeling clean, not dry and crunchy. So I really enjoy it. However, I think my hair is a little bit too used to it and I am down to try something else. However, months ago, I love buying backups, just a quick heads up. Months ago, especially when they're on sale, I was at CVS of all places and I noticed that they had Deva Curl, it was on sale, and I had CVS rewards points. So I bought a backup. So that's what I'm using currently, but once that's done, I'm probably going to try something else. Price point wise, if we were to compare beauty care to like Yelp reviews in restaurants, you know, there's like the $1 sign for a cheaper, more accessible place, $2 signs for a little mid-tier, and then $3 signs for like super bougie. This is more in the $2 tier, and I know that I can find something a little bit cheaper and have more product. With hair care and body care, I want more and more and more. I just use it up a lot. Next, cleanser. I just finished the cleansing ritual from Skin Worship, which is a facial spa here in LA. I had my first facial with them a couple months ago, right before quarantine, and I completely enjoyed my experience. I really liked the philosophy they have there. I loved the facialist that I was working with, and I was running out of cleanser and I saw that they had this. The ingredients are really nice and gentle. They're also very natural. I was just really sold on it. Again, a pump goes a long way for me. Apparently I'm a cheap sell, but for 4 ounces, I think this is about $22. And again, with facial cleanser, I use that pretty often, and it's one thing that I'm always trying to rotate and try different things. So I'm really glad that I tried this. It is very, very gentle. I love that it's not super sudsy. I tend to lean toward more creamy, milky gel cleansers that aren't super foamy because I just like the way that my skin feels after. It's very gentle on my eyes. So I would highly recommend this. It's available for sale online, but I'm in a place where I'm ready to try other things. And I always have my drawers stocked with different samples of things or just other things that I've bought during sales that I wanted to try whenever I run out. So I'm currently working my way through a couple other cleansers at the moment, but would recommend. Next up, toothpaste. Toothpaste is something that I feel like we don't talk about a lot, but our smiles are really important to us, and I like that it's becoming a little bit more of a conversation that we have, and I just like talking about all of the things that we use. So I want to introduce you to my most recent finished empty, and that is this David's natural toothpaste. My boyfriend and I share this. We've both gone through maybe 3 or 4 of these at this point, and as I mentioned, there are certain categories of my personal care that I'm willing to sacrifice on, maybe quality of ingredients or origin, packaging. There are certain things that I can lessen up on because I don't want to go broke and I want to have a lot to actually use. But when it comes to toothpaste, we've tried a bunch of different kinds and we've been wanting to lean more toward the natural route, and it's hard to find a natural toothpaste that feels like it's actually getting something done. This one actually has a whitening element and I feel like it actually does that for my teeth, and I like that it comes in the aluminum packaging. We have a backup. We're currently using it. It's $10, but it lasts us a long time. This is one thing that I would choose to not compromise on. I highly recommend it. For moisturizer, first up we have the classic Tatcha water cream. This sample was pretty good amount wise for it being a sample. The only gripe that I have is just the packaging itself, which is I realize what you're paying for when you buy Tatcha is the luxury of the packaging, but this is such a small amount of product. But if you could feel this, it's very substantial, which I think adds to the luxe experience of Tatcha products. But we could have filled this up with more product. Anyway, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Don't think I'll be purchasing the full size anytime soon, again because I have others that I want to get through. This is more in the higher tier of the $2 sign, so this is definitely more expensive. The full size of the water cream is about $68, so that is teetering between the $2 and $3 sign for me, especially as far as skincare goes, but I absolutely loved using this. I ended up using it for maybe about 2 weeks. I'm very sparing with my moisturizer use, especially in the warmer months, and I love that it truly has a water feel, although it's a cream. So I like that it's not a gel, although I like gels because they're typically lightweight. This just had no thickness or heaviness of most creams. My skin just drank it up and totally loved it. So I highly recommend it. I'm not usually a fan of jars. I like, again, pumps and things you can squeeze, but the larger full size comes with a little fancy spatula for just a more hygienic use. So I'd recommend this if you're able to ball, and one day I will, but for the meantime, I'll stick with the samples and stick with the other stuff that I'm trying. But it was beautiful. Great experience. Next up, we have another moisturizer that I received as a sample in an Ipsy bag just a few months ago. I actually opened it up on camera and had a few initial thoughts about it, so if you want to revisit my first thoughts based on ingredients and packaging, I'll show you the video at the end of this one or in the link down below. This is the Goldfaden MD Wake Up Call Overnight Regenerative Facial Treatment. For a teeny tiny sample, it did a really great job. I was not familiar with the brand before I received it as a sample, so I was really excited once I learned a little bit more about the brand's philosophy. I learned about the ingredients. What it seems to value to me is natural ingredients with clinical and dermatologist oversight, and those are two worlds that I love to see come together. So I was really impressed with it. I use this at night, and it claims to be an overnight creamy moisturizer that will make skin appear firmer, feel stronger, leaving skin supple, smooth, and hydrated. And I have to say, it definitely did the job. Again, I'm really impressed by the ingredients, but a full size of this is $88, so that is something I will not be purchasing anytime soon. However, I definitely recommend checking it out. Actually, after finishing this up, I even spent a little bit more time researching the rest of the product line because I was so impressed, and they have a pretty good lineup, so I'd recommend checking it out and looking into it if you're in a place to do so. Next up, Micellar water, an oldie but a goodie. Just Bioderma. We love her. I've gone through plenty of these over the past few years. The one thing I wish is that I could just refill it, especially these specific bottles that come with a pump. That's perfect if you're using a cotton round. I will always choose this over the squirt bottle. So if you can, especially if you find this online, please give it a try. I just wish I had like a bulk jug that I could. That's kind of my vibe these days. I just like large quantities. But because that's not an option, I did end up buying very recently a backup. This was on sale on Amazon. When I'm running low, and especially if something's on sale, I'll just kind of go ahead and make the purchase. This is something that I will always repurchase. It's super gentle as a makeup remover and detailer when you're applying makeup, and especially if you're using it all over the face to remove makeup or to just refresh your skin throughout the day. It just doesn't feel sticky or heavy. It doesn't leave behind a residue. So that's why I love it. I've tried other micellar waters. This is my A1 day one. We love her. Next, Supergoop Play Everyday Sunscreen SPF 50. I'll just say it really fast. I totally loved it. Not only has this bottle lasted me a very long time because I used it like 95% of the time just for my face, but it's beautiful for the rest of the body. Supergoop has a really great sunscreen line, and I have been valuing sunscreen so much more in my skincare routine because I think it simplifies your routine because of how protective it is to your skin barrier. However, I've been in this research phase of figuring out if I want to use more chemical sunscreens that are sheer and don't leave behind white casts, or more physical sunscreens, which are supposedly better for you skin-wise just because it doesn't penetrate your skin barrier. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation for another day, but I love Supergoop. I love the way that my skin feels with this. It's a touch dewy. That's something to keep in mind. I love the way it wears under makeup and just on its own. I also have seen that they create giant jugs of it, like one with a pump, kind of like the Dove body wash, that I'm very tempted to just buy because I know that I like it so much. However, I have something that I'm using in place of this, but this is definitely something I would repurchase, and I would place this in the $2 sign category. Second to last is this Ilia Limitless Lash Mascara. You can tell that it's a little on the older side because of the packaging. They just redesigned everything a few months ago, and it's super cute, very aesthetically pleasing, but that's how you know that it's time for this to go. I absolutely love this mascara. I recommend it to everybody. I love the way that it separates, lifts, lengthens, dramatizes lashes. It comes off really comfortably just with warm water super easily. I have noticed as it dries out, it will start to flake a little bit under the eyes, and unless you don't set your under eye and have a very juicy under eye with concealer or just really hydrated, it may smudge, but if you set and wipe away a flake here and there, totally worth it. I have approximately a jillion tiny samples of mascara, so I'm working my way through those, but I would definitely repurchase this and recommend you do too. Lastly, we've got Cinema Secrets Brush Cleaner. Have I used this before? Yes, many times. I've bought many bottles of this, so if that doesn't clue you into the fact that I would definitely repurchase this, I just want to make it very clear, absolutely. I found out about this about 2 years ago when I was in makeup school and starting my journey as a makeup artist, and I only wish I'd heard about it sooner. Cleaning our makeup brushes is probably one of the most daunting tasks as people who do makeup, and something that we just kind of push off, especially if it's just your personal brushes. Like, let's be honest, when was the last time you washed your brushes? Exactly. This is just so simple and so effective. Most of the time, if you were to purchase a bottle, it'll come with a tin like this that you just open up, you place the solution inside, you dip your brushes, and then if you have a towel or paper towel or something, you just wipe it off. It just does such a good job at removing pigment and allowing you to use your brushes immediately after. There's no drying time, or maybe like 30 seconds, and I just love it. So it's great for personal use. It's really great for professional use. It does not completely replace actually washing brushes. It's just a good, think of it as like a dry shampoo, but really focuses on antibacterial stuff. So I love it. I'd recommend it. And if you were curious about if I've repurchased, hold on just a moment. Stand by. Does this answer your question? I recently applied for a pro membership with Cinema Secrets, and this is my pride and joy. I realize I go through actually a lot of it, especially when I'm working, so I'm happy to have a giant backup, and I will happily buy more whenever the opportunity arises. All right, that is everything. That's all I got for you today. Those are all of my recently used up products. I'm probably going to do a couple more of these as time goes on, just because I enjoy going through the process myself of appreciating what I appreciated about the products and actually doing the evaluation of, is this something that I would repurchase? What are the circumstances under which I would repurchase it? You know, extra funds, not a lot of funds, those types of things. And just really get a little bit more nitty gritty with it. I'm always happy to do that. So I hope this encourages you to do the same thing with the products that you're using. And also, ultimately, the reason why I just started to save these products so that I could create these videos is for me to understand the value of actually using up products, especially if you're a product junkie like some people. I think there's a lot of beauty in actually committing to use something up. I think it gives you the really full experience of what the product can offer you, especially when it comes to skincare. I'm very prone to be impatient with skincare, but also some makeup products. Back when stores were up and functioning regularly, I was the best returner you've ever met in your life. I would buy so many things, or like multiples of different products. Like I'd buy 3 different shampoos and I'd try them all one day at a time, and then I'd pick the one that I wanted and give it back. And I just don't see that as a very sustainable practice, not only in my own life because I didn't really give myself time and my hair or whatever body part that I was testing this thing on to actually see how it worked and how it adapted to it, but also when you just return products to stores that are barely used, they don't really get rehabilitated. It just ends up going to waste, and that just didn't feel super great. So this practice has been really helpful, and especially now that I have these empty products, I can be more mindful of the afterlife that they have. I'm grateful that I'm in a place to actually use them up and give them a life that hopefully they wanted. But now I can be really focused on how to recycle them. So for instance, my Cinema Secrets bottle, I can probably get one more use out of this, and once it's done, I check the bottom, it's recyclable. If it's got a 1 or a 2 inside the little triangle, that can be recycled in your regular recycling. Cool. Most of the time, like 99% of the time, lids cannot. So I'll remove it, put it in my little TerraCycle box. If you're curious about more details around this whole recycling process that I'm talking about, I've done a whole video on it and introduced this company called TerraCycle that basically focuses on recycling things that are hard to recycle. And I just feel a little bit better, especially because of the amount of products that I buy. I at least want to do as much as I can to have a little bit more of a positive impact than just throwing it into the landfill. As always, y'all, I so appreciate you. I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for sticking around. I hope that you were able to get some reviews on products that either you've used, you've wanted to use, or just new information. Let's have a conversation in the comments. Let me know what your process is when it comes to repurchasing things. If you're focusing on actually using up the products that you have, or if you're still kind of like guilty of having an entire shelfie or cabinets of barely used, half-used 10 moisturizers, you know what I mean? Please don't feel bad. I've been in that same place up until very recently. So it's always a good conversation to have. It's good to keep each other accountable. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be back in a few days with a new video, so hang tight. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.